create original Acufil designs. So this is a fun area to also play with here in this program. Let's go ahead and click it open, and we're going to see that what is on the screen right now is that we are working with the same editing size that we had just set up when we were creating a stipple fill. So what will happen here is that the program is going to default back to the last thing that you did here. So this time, let's just say that what I want to work with is a single block. And this is where we kind of have to sometimes train ourselves to think a little bit differently in this program. And what I mean by that is that even though you could use a great big area like this to create a set of designs for, you are still going to be limited by the size of your embroidery hoop. Okay, so the first way that we're going to work with this area of this design is we're actually going to change our embroidery editing size down to the size of our embroidery hoop, which is the ASQ22 hoop, and that is 220 millimeters square. So let's change our metric system back just for now, just so that makes it a little bit easier for us. All right, our editing size, let's go ahead and make it 220. So that we're filling up, we have the capability of filling up our entire hoop. Okay, so notice how this is going to change once I've changed my editing size. All right, there it is. There's our one hoop. There's our crosshair for it, and this is the outside dimension of it. Again, if I want to, I can come in and I can zoom. Oh, it's not going to let me zoom in any bigger than that for right now, and that's okay. So our next button, we've created our editing size, so we could always change that if we wanted to. Here it is down on our status bar. Right now, we've just got the layout size that it's going to stitch out one time. Let's go to our next button, and this is where we're going to be able to import some of our designs that we want to use on our project. So this is kind of fun if you've never opened this up before. Under the Design tab, you all are going to have a design folder that you are going to be able to open up, and this design folder will have all of your Acufil designs in it. My designs aren't there at this point, so I'm just going to do things a little differently. My designs are actually in my D drive, so I'm coming to my Acufil tool, and I'm going to open the design collection. When you open design collection, you're going to have 4 different folders of things that have been included in the program. So the first part is Acufil designs, and these are just some stipple fill patterns that have been created, a variety of different sizes. They're, again, rectangles or squares. The next folder is quilting designs, and here's some pretty little designs, some not so little, some are bigger than others, that you can combine together to create different kinds of fill patterns on your project. Next, we've got our stippling designs. These are the same designs that we have built into our 15,000 embroidery machine. So each one of these motifs actually has 3 different versions to it. We've got it as a single design. We have it as a single design surrounded by stipple fill. And then we have that same design, but this time it has a little bit of a satin stitch border around it. So again, these are things that could be used here in this program and that you've got on your embroidery machine. And then the last part of this design is the stippling parts. Now here is where you're going to notice that you've got all of these motifs that can be connected together to fill in backgrounds or create borders or do all kinds of things with them. What I want to draw your attention to is that some of these little designs, there's 2 different designs of the same, what looks like the same design. I want you to notice the file format. This one here is an AFL and this one is a JEF. So as you know, of course, JEF is just a normal Janome embroidery file. The AFL stands for Acufil, and it is a design that can be used. We're going to work with them again in a little while, but the difference between the AFL and the JEF version of these ones that have the 2 different ones is that these can be connected together, and it will eliminate the tie-ins and the tie-offs in between these little motifs. So I don't know why they didn't create an AFL for all of these different ones. Maybe some of them because the designs wouldn't connect together well, I guess. Probably is why. Anyway, these ones here, you could string them all together as much as you wanted to, and we'll work with them in a little while with no tie-ins and no tie-offs. Okay, so that's what's in stippling parts. What I think I'm going to do to start with my little layout here is I'm going to go into What am I going to do? I think I'll go to Horizon Link Suite, and I think I'll go to Design Collection and go to my embroidery designs, and let's just pick something out. Actually, I don't know what's actually in some of these folders, and I don't want to spend too much time. Let me go with abstract designs. I tend to like the abstract designs. Let's just pick out maybe this little circle. So what I want you to notice, obviously, here is that, even though we're in the Acufil program, we can actually use regular embroidery designs here also to create layouts. And I think that's a pretty neat thing to be able to do. So I've got to start here. I've got my design list over on the side, and here's my first design in it. This hoop is reflective of my ASQ22 hoop. Let's go back to the design tab, and this time let's go ahead and go on over to quilting designs. And let's open up, maybe we'll open up this little leaf. How's that? Yeah, I like that little leaf. So what I think I'm going to do with this is I'm going to rotate it 45 degrees. So I'm just holding down my right mouse button and I'm just dragging this around. All right, so I'm going to put this kind of on the crosshair of this hooping right here. All right, I'm just positioning it. I'm going to use my cornering tool, and I have created a little border around my little embroidery design. All right, at this point in time, what you could do here is look at your design list and just make sure that everything is in the order that you would like it to be stitched out in. We've done all of this stuff before, so I'm not going to go over it again. You could actually come here, and if you wanted to change the color of any of these portions, you could also do that in your editing mode. And the other thing that we could do with this is we could go ahead and delete things out of it if we wanted to. We could zoom in on it just a little bit more, maybe, if you wanted to try to fine-tune the positioning of these little embroidery motifs. One thing that you don't have available in this section of the program is that under your View tab, you don't have the ability to do a stitch simulation, so you're not going to be able to actually watch this simulate the stitching to preview it before you send it to your machine. Okay, so back at my home tab, I am now going to go ahead and hit my next button. Reason why I have to do that is because I want to send it over to my USB stick, but it's still grayed out, which means I need to hit finish editing, basically is what this means. So I'm going to hit next, and now I can write this design. So let's go ahead and send this over to my machine USB stick, and I'm going to rename this one and call it number 2. And let's send it over. All right. So let's go back to our clear design just to show you something here. Our might not be the perfect time to actually demonstrate this, but let's just say that I had a different design dimension here. How about if I do this? I want to cancel. Okay, I would just hit the wrong button on that. Let's go back to previous. This time I'm going to change my editing size, and instead of it being 220, I'm going to take it down to 210. Okay, just because I want to demonstrate that little clear design. You can see that my hoop changed a little bit. Next, it's the same design that's still in there, but again, my hoop is a little bit different than what it was before now. So this time, if I say clear design, actually it's not going to let me because I'm too far along. Okay, here we go. Now I can come back home, I can clear the design. It's asking me if I want to save these changes, and I'm going to say no. All right, so my new screen is ready to work with, and again, it has saved that size of that hoop as a 210 by 210 for my design area. So that's how the clear design works, okay? It keeps the same dimension of your design, but it has cleared out everything that you've put into it. All right, so the next section that we're going to be working with is called the edit designs.